To order. Roll call.
Honorable Brad Mueller, Honorable Justin Hunter, Nancy Ward,
Here.
Ember Morris,
Here.
Sandy Locke, Anthony Summer, Sheriff Rich Kelly,
Here.
Mayor Judy Sheets, Commissioner Burt Weaver, Rick Martin,
Here.
Tanya Pryfogel,
Here.
Chris Ward,
Here.
Leslie Douglas, Councilwoman Carol Price,
Here.
Don Stock, Deanne Hunter, Danielle Majors,
Here.
Madison Bolero, Reverend Leo Gonzalez. We have reached a quorum.
Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
And director's report.
All right, thanks for being here, everybody. This morning we had 93 clients on our program. 2 are juveniles. We have 4 on CTP and 1 on pretrial release. We're currently supervising 16 offenders that are in the donut counties around Clinton. To date, we've completed 78 intakes. We've also had 9 people at intake request jail in lieu of community corrections. 6 because they couldn't pass a drug screen, 2 were homeless, and 1 could not afford the fees. We have requested 12 warrants so far in the first quarter. Collections for February, $45,389. March, $52,010. And our project income stands at $641,845.08. We did secure the building at the last commissioners meeting. We're going to start a renovation pretty quick on that. We do have a client that has a sanction with us who volunteered to do most of our demo, so we're happy about that. It won't cost us anything. We've also asked some clients to help in the move in a couple months, and I think we're going to reward those clients with a few hours out on a pass, something like that. We haven't completely worked out the details on that, but just another way to save us a little bit of money. I may come back to the board with some additional allocations for the remodel. We did do $20,000, if you remember, about a month ago. That has been transferred over or reappropriated. But some of the estimates I'm getting in on the flooring that we're going to do and some of the remodel, I'll probably exhaust that a little quicker than I thought. So that's still up in the air. Legislation we're still watching, Senate Bill 324. It would require certain defendants charged with a domestic violence crime to wear the GPS while they're out on bond. That also increases quite a few penalties for some drug dealing offenses and some violent offenses against public safety officers. So we're still watching that. I was going to ask the judges and Tony about our pretrial assessments, if those are being conducted every morning the way they want those to. Officers did recently recertify with their firearms this week. I did have one officer out sick, so he'll do it in the near future. I did send out the JRAC report a couple days ago. Were there any questions on that? Pretty straightforward on who we're supervising and our collections and such. Okay. That is it for the director's report. Is there any questions at all?
Do you have a timeline?
Yes. It does depend on when we can get ACCS over there to do a couple data lines for us, and I know that the annex is a priority, so we've talked to them. He probably needs about 2 days to get in there. We're hoping there's only going to be about 1 month overlap between paying rents on both places, so I'm hoping mid-June at the latest. Yep. Any other questions?
Did we have any unfinished business?
No unfinished business.
Okay. New business.
But we do have the 3 grants that will need to be approved. I'd like to do those each separately because some people do have to abstain from their personal grants. So we'll start with community corrections.
Were there any questions on the community corrections grant? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second? All those in favor of approving the community corrections DOC grant?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Probation grant?
Probation grant. Did anybody have questions on that? Motion to approve that grant. Second?
I'll second.
all those in favor of? Okay, let me answer. All those in favor of approving probation DOC grant?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, the
Jail treatment.
jail treatment grant. Did anybody have questions on that one? Have a motion to approve. Okay, all those in favor of approving the jail treatment grant?
Aye.
Opposed? Rich is abstaining, okay. Right, and now, we're gonna discuss supervision of undocumented clients.
Yes, the prosecutor's office approached me a few weeks ago, just want to know if we had a policy in place of supervising undocumented citizens. We don't, so I did some research on what's currently on our caseload. So right now we have 14 non-citizen clients on our caseload, but 5 do have social security numbers. So I did a little research on how that is attained. So if somebody in their home country before coming here goes through Homeland Security and tries to get a work visa or a residence card, that same process makes them qualify to apply for a social security card. Hope I explained that right. So we have 5 in that situation too. So I was always curious on how you could be a non-citizen but have a social security number, and that's how that gets accomplished. So currently 7 of the 14 that we're supervising were sentenced out of Tippecanoe County. We have 1 out of Benton County and 1 out of Jasper County, and 5 out of our own county here. So 5 do live in Tippecanoe County. And their average length of stay right now is about 101 days. So that's about what we see from all coming from Tippecanoe, mostly nonviolent crimes, alcohol-related, driving-related. But the word has spread through the judges in Tippecanoe County that we're willing to take on these clients. So we're actually getting sentences directly to us. So that's not even going through the transfer process. We're getting a direct commitment to our agency, which is fine. It saves the client a little bit of money, and we are happy to take most of them on. But my question is, do we actually need a policy going forward to supervise non-citizens? Do we want to keep it the status quo as we're doing now? So just like a lot of input from the board on how we move forward with that. Judge, we're right in the middle of talking about non-citizens that are on our program.
Oh, okay,
So,
thank you.
quick review, Judge, we have 14 currently on. 5 do have social security numbers. I went through to do a little research on how that is accomplished. It's through Homeland Security before leaving their home country, that they do get a social security number while they're here. But we have 7 that were sentenced from Tippecanoe, 1 from Benton, 1 from Jasper, and 5 from our county. So we don't have a policy in place on supervising non-citizens. Do we need one? Do we keep the status quo? But I also let them know that Tippy judges now are actually doing a direct commitment to us, bypassing Tippecanoe County Community Corrections. And we actually got a pre-trial this morning, right, Marissa?
Yes.
On supervising somebody out of Tippecanoe County. So I anticipate that growing. Good thing or bad thing, I don't know, but do we need a policy in place on supervising? They're not accepting it, that's why they're
So-
becoming our direction, yeah. Tippecanoe will not supervise anybody without a social security
So
number.
that's our policy, is not.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to ask? Been objections in the past.
Well, the last
I mean,
non-citizen.
Yeah, I mean, we have that on our advisement form, because I'm sure there's other advisements I have to look at.
Sure.
So, and I guess when I look at community corrections, we're just another form of incarceration in essence. I mean, we can't have our jails turn them away without, there may be some that we feel are not available, but I changing it.
I haven't heard from ICE in years. It used to be quite common that I would get a call from them about every 2 months, but it's been a long time since I've heard from anybody from ICE. And even back then, they would ask for a specific individual. I said, I got 12 on right now. Well, we just want the guy with the OWI charge, which always kind of stunned me on who they wanted and why they wanted him. So
So I stepped in a little late, but is there any, are you aware of any legislation that addresses this issue at all?
No.
Okay.
What about any of your grants?
hurting in any of the new grants? Lose the grants if you were,
No, I do have a director's meeting in French Lick next week, and this is something I wanted to bring up and just put it out there to see how everybody else is handling it. But like I said, I know Tippecanoe will not take anybody without a social security number. That's the way they handle it.
Like, you could get a guidance in me. We need to revisit this.
On the positive side, they are some of the best paying clients we have. It is a revenue generator, so just throw that out there too.
I don't have any problem with it. The problem is we just want to make sure that we are state of the law, whatever that be, and I can't say I acknowledge what that is.
Sheriff, have you heard from ICE? Do you hear from them regularly?
I have heard from ICE.
Okay.
A lot more lately than
Okay.
prior. I can check with our contact through them and see if there's what their thoughts are on it. And, you know, and I know sometimes the only federal knowledge we gain is from the evening news, which we have to take with a grain of
Sure,
salt,
sure.
whether it's accurate or not. So it is one of those things, but I can definitely check with those folks I have contacts with and see what their recommendation is or what the policies would be. And I think governor's level, you know, compliance with, you know, the federal government, cooperation's expected. So I think government's gonna have to catch up with the agenda.
Mhm.
And right now, we're tabling it until you find out from the rest of your people, and then
Very good.
we'll. No, I'm still waiting on an ordinance to even instill and. No, we don't have, we don't. Once they're sentenced, you know, they fit the qualifications and requirements that they are citizens. Work, so. All of us need to revisit and see. But wait for the federal government's guidance and then what the.
I personally don't support asking the question or making a distinction unless we have to. You know, it's just, I think there are benefits to I want to remain compliant. Look at what our compliance on. Suggestion,
Mhm.
and it's probably something we, some information, conference that will share what you have.
Sure.
And we start to look a little statutory or federal
Mhm.
obligations or something.
Very good.
Importantly, I would second the motion to table with the idea of exploring it at your committee with grant compliance, law requirement for compliance, and then seeing what other counties are doing.
I did want to pose the questions to both judges about our pretrial assessments in the morning. Any issues there at all? Okay, very good.
They always come in, for me, they're always timely before the hearings and
I read every one.
Great, okay.
very helpful.
Any other questions?
Nobody has anything else? We can adjourn.
I don't know where our lunch
Lunch is
is.
sitting out on the counter.
Oh, it is out there?
Out on the
Perfect.
bench
All
up
right.
there.
Thank you.